This reading comes from Northern Lights, The Stories of Minnesota's Past, revised, second edition, written by Dave Kenny in consultation with the Minnesota Historical Society, published in 2013. Page 6.11, Different Perspectives. As the people living in and around Fort Snelling looked around them, they saw different things. The value of resources. To the Dakota, as well as to the Ojibwe living farther north, Minnesota was home. They believed that it belonged to the people who lived there, just as the people belonged to it. The land held the graves of their ancestors and the places of their sacred traditions. It provided the food and other resources necessary for survival. The area's rivers supplied fish and fresh water, as well as a means for travel. To many of the American newcomers, Minnesota looked like a land of resources from which to benefit. Forested lands could provide timber for new construction. The open prairies with fertile soil could be made into farms. The rivers could serve as both transportation routes and sources of power used to operate lumber and flour mills. Land could be divided into lots and then sold. Individuals could bury this property and build houses and businesses. Land ownership. The Dakota and Ojibwe viewed land ownership differently than Europeans and Americans did. In Ojibwe and Dakota societies, individuals did not own land. Instead, groups controlled an area of land and the resources on it. Sometimes, the Dakota and Ojibwe and other American Indian nations made agreements with each other, as the Ojibwe and Dakota had in 1679, to share land and resources. Other times, they fought to protect their hunting land and village sites from takeover. Changing times. For more than 150 years, European and American fur trading companies had profited from the furs provided by the Dakota and Ojibwe. Now, major changes were happening in the area. Some were economic, and others were geographic. In the 1830s, the demand for furs started to drop, and the fur trade was becoming less profitable. At the same time, westward expansion started to increase dramatically. To make room for more settlers, the U.S. government wanted the lands of the Ojibwe and Dakota.